AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Cassie Spazzali.
Oh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
You chose wisely. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Led to Norman, Oklahoma. Eddie Radosevich next hour. Sean Salisbury, hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
The transfer portal is going to open, as we know, on January the 2nd. And I'm not sure that there is a soul more excited about that prospect than the LSU head football coach, Lane Kiffin. Still taking some getting used to saying all that. But if you follow Lane Kiffin on Twitter, which I'm guessing many of you do, he is clearly an early riser. Today at 4:39 a.m., there's Lane Kiffin with a tweet that says, "Keep grinding." There's a photo of Tiger Stadium, the LSU football operations building, and it says hashtag 1226. That's January 2nd, 2026. That is the day the transfer portal opens. Very clearly, the self-proclaimed portal king has his eyes set on the transfer portal. And at the top of LSU's wish list, needs list, is going to be getting a quarterback in this portal class. Now, I want to take a little bit of time here because as we get closer to that, we're going to start getting more and more information about what direction LSU may go because we're going to learn what players are going in the portal. We're going to learn more about who LSU might be targeting, all that sort of stuff. But what we know right now is that LSU has one scholarship quarterback. It's Michael Van Buren. Colin Hurley is taking a leave from the team. Garrett Nussmeier's out of eligibility. Juwan Johnson is planning to enter the transfer portal after the bowl game. So you have one. And I don't think there's any guarantee that Van Buren stays with this team. So you may have none, which is a very tenuous spot. You didn't sign one in the December signing period. All the top 2026 quarterbacks are gone. I think we're going to have to sort of reframe how we look at the quarterback position, especially in the high school ranks, because it's pretty clear what Lane Kiffin wants to do, which is go get transfers. It seems like the non-skill guys, he's willing, like if you're not the one scoring touchdowns, then he can recruit and develop. But the quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, tight ends, cornerbacks, he wants to go in the portal and get those guys. And so we may just have to reshape how we think about, well, you got to sign a quarterback every year. Maybe not. Because if they ain't sitting and staying and developing and you don't have time to let them go through the growing pains because the expectation is win now, you got to go get guys that can win now. So we'll kind of start to look at some of these players who might be targets for LSU at quarterback in the transfer portal. The one that's certainly the first one we need to talk about is Trinidad Chambliss. So he's the Ole Miss starting quarterback, and everybody by now knows his story. He was at Division II Ferris State. He was going to sign with Temple. And then Ole Miss, Charlie Weiss Jr., Lane Kiffin, they see him on Twitter, and they offer him. He goes to basically be Austin Simmons' backup. Simmons starts the season. He gets injured. Chambliss goes in. He plays really well, and Simmons gets Wally pipped. So now, here you have this guy in Trinidad Chambliss who has appealed for an extra year of eligibility with the NCAA. That has not been granted as of yet, but if it is granted, what does that mean for Chambliss? Chambliss was asked that at the media availability before the first round of the playoff game about his future and what he might do.
Trinidad, if you do get that waiver, would you anticipate, if it's college, being at Ole Miss, or would you have to consider everything because that's part of it? It's all year to year. So, what would be your considerations in that way?
Yeah, no, definitely. You hit it right on the nail. I would have to consider like what the best situation is for me, what I feel most comfortable with, who I trust the most, and just get a feel for every possibility really. So there's a lot that goes into that.
That certainly doesn't sound like a guy that is pot committed to being back in Oxford next year. Now, I understand from Trinidad Chambliss's perspective this point, which is to say that dude was a Division II Ferris State. He was going to go to Temple, ends up as the backup at Ole Miss. Now, I was told the NIL number he got at Ole Miss this year. I don't know that I'm comfortable because it's single source saying the number, but suffice to say it was not six figures. So you have a starting quarterback in the college football playoff where dudes are making seven figures. I mean, we've heard stories of guys making $3, $4, $5 million. Carson Beckett, Miami. I mean, go down the list. And Trinidad Chambliss is starting for Ole Miss, has them in the college football playoff, and his NIL deal that he got to go to Ole Miss wasn't even six figures. Now he's got an NIL deal right now with one of the self-service companies, the transfer portal commercial, which is funny. So he'll get paid there. But the point is, if he is granted another year, he's got to maximize that year. And maybe that's at Ole Miss, but he owes it to himself to go into the portal to say, okay, let's have a bidding war, because he's not an NFL prospect. He's undersized. He doesn't have a great arm. Like, he doesn't check any of the measurables that the NFL is looking for. So that's not going to be a highly regarded NFL prospect. He's got like Pavia this year. You have an opportunity to go back to school, make money, go back to school and make money. Maximize your ability to earn while you can. So absolutely following Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss to Baton Rouge would make a lot of sense for Trinidad Chambliss. Now, depending on what happens with Chambliss could affect what happens with Austin Simmons, the other quarterback there at Ole Miss. And Simmons, Simmons is a prodigy, right? He's the guy, I had a baseball scout buddy of mine tell me that he would have been a top 3-round guy coming out of high school. 97 from the left side. Like, that just doesn't happen a lot. So, but he chose football as a path. His dad's a coach. And his dad was on Nevin Shapiro's podcast and was at, this is Austin Simmons' dad was on Nevin Shapiro. Remember the Miami booster got in all the trouble? On his podcast, and they were talking about Lane Kiffin and the decision he made, Kiffin leaving, and the whole situation with Austin Simmons.
The thing with Charlie Weiss went with him too. The whole offensive staff just about went with him. So Austin will be plug and play. I mean, I'm not a fool. So we don't have an issue with Lane personally. It's business. Mm-hmm. So I know other people understand that. Hey, you should be upset. Why? Yeah, he did get hurt. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm a coach.
You know how it goes.
I done bench my own son. So I bench my own son that's here now. So if you get hurt, get out.
So in that soundbite, Austin Simmons' dad, understanding the decision to bench his son, he went on to compliment Trinidad Chambliss the way he played, but he also said, they oversimplified the offense, they slowed the pace, all that stuff for when they put Chambliss in. He also said point blank, like, our goal this year, was to win the Heisman and win the national championship, and I believe that would have happened if Austin hadn't gotten hurt. I think he's crazy because Austin Simmons wasn't playing well at the beginning of the season. But as I understand it, talking to people in and around Ole Miss, this is one of those overbearing fathers. Like, I had someone describe it to me like as the Todd Marinovich type situation where the dad is grooming the son for this. And it sounds like, despite what David Simmons, Austin's father, said in this podcast, from folks I spoke with at Ole Miss, it sounds like he was very upset that his son got benched, and that Austin Simmons coming to Baton Rouge to follow Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss would not very likely be a realistic possibility. Now, he contradicts that in this interview where he says, yeah, they would go to LSU if the opportunity was there. So those are probably the conversation starters. If Chambliss goes in the portal, can LSU get him to Baton Rouge? If Chambliss goes or stays at Ole Miss or goes somewhere else, is Austin Simmons in play? From my understanding, talking to folks today around Ole Miss, that's probably not realistic, the Austin Simmons piece of it. We'll see. And then there's all the other conversations about portal quarterbacks. I have not heard anyone around LSU mention Sam Leavitt. I know that's something that a lot of LSU fans have mentioned because Leavitt is a high-profile guy. Bet Online put out odds today for these portal quarterbacks. We got these up for free at LouisianaSports.net if you want. So Brendan Sorsby, 2 years at Indiana, then the last 2 years at Cincinnati. Sorsby, they have his odds up. For what it's worth, LSU, they have as the third best odds there at 4-1. So Texas Tech, Miami, both playoff teams that are going to be replacing their quarterback. Then LSU, so Sorsby's third there. After Sorsby, the other ones that I think people are going to be really interested in, maybe the most interesting, is DJ Lagway. They have Baylor as the betting favorite to land DJ Lagway at 3-1, but LSU right behind at plus 350. Followed by Miami, Texas Tech, UCLA, Alabama, others. I know there's going to be people here who roll their eyes about Lagway, and I don't blame you. The interceptions have been a problem. He's also been injured for 2 seasons and basically missed the entire offseason this year while recovering from surgery and was just thrown out. I mean, he didn't start practicing this year until 2 weeks before the opener. And it showed. But Lagway also has amazing physical ability. And what I was told today is that Lane Kiffin thinks very highly of DJ Lagway. So from my perspective, I think where this conversation probably starts is Chambliss, Simmons, the Ole Miss guys. And if you land either one of those guys, great. Familiarity with the system, plug and play, ready-made, got it. If not, the next guy probably at the top of the list at this point would probably be DJ Lagway, depending on who else goes in the portal. But we're going to continue to follow this because the way I understand that they're working over there is they've got their board, their big board, and it's broken down by prospects, and it's all right, who's in the portal, and they'll just shift and adjust, basically prioritizing their board. As someone is committed to or signed somewhere else, they're off the board, and then you're just organizing based on needs and prioritizing players within those position groups. So I haven't personally looked at LSU's quarterback board. I'm trying to piece this together. I've not spoken to Lane Kiffin or Billy Glasscock, the GM, but I'm trying to piece together what that board probably looks like based on a lot of conversations that I've had with people close to and around the program and around Kiffin and Billy Glasscock. So as this develops, we'll follow it because there's no bigger decision that's going to be made than which premier quarterback LSU signs in the portal starting at the beginning of January. All right, it's after further review. Tigers, of course, did not sign a quarterback in the December signing period. Shea Dixon visits with us every single Tuesday. So we'll chat with Shea as we come back. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers, the official beer of the Saints. If you're at that holiday party, make sure you got plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light. Maybe you're hosting that holiday party. Make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light for your guests. You go into your favorite watering hole, go into your favorite restaurant to have dinner. Remember to drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine. Shea Dixon will be with us next, and then we're heading to Norman in about 45 minutes to preview Bama, Oklahoma from the Oklahoma side of things. That's coming up on AFR.
AFR.
Always love telling you about Glow Resources because they're a great local business that helps other businesses, not just locally, but all over the country, thrive. At Glow Resources, they're fond of saying we're complete employer solutions. Their slogan used to be complete employee solutions, but they changed it because as they sort of examine what they do, truly, yes, they'll help you find employees, but they don't work for the employee. They're not a temp staffing agency. As a matter of fact, if you're looking for a job, they always say, look, don't call us. They'll find you. Who Glow Resource wants to talk to is you, the business owner, you, the hiring manager, the HR manager. If you're in charge of finding the right people for your business to maximize efficiency, Glow Resources can help. So start online at glowresources.com. And it's important to remember that no matter where you're listening or watching, they can help. Glow Resources, while they're based in Baton Rouge, they help businesses they have offices all over. They help businesses all over the country, place employees all over the world. GLO, glowresources.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rolling along, Tuesdays AFR. We are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Remember, 10% off all John Deere toys. Great gift this Christmas. Make sure you swing by any of your Sunshine dealers. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, good enough to join us as he does every Tuesday. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
Doing awesome. It's interesting to look at Lane Kiffin tweeting at 4:30 in the morning and tweeting the date that the transfer portal window opens, that he's so singularly focused. Do you have a sense yet in those circles how he and Billy Glasscock are looking to build this roster balancing high school recruiting and the portal?
Well, we do know it, at least that on the high school front, you brought in a smaller class than normal, and it was pacing that way throughout the fall and, after the summer months when most of the kids had committed. But now they're all signed. So you walk away 14 guys on the team, and pound for pound here, I mean, they are the number one class on Rivals in average rating per commitment. So that's saying something. You're edging out Oregon, Bama, Georgia, the other top teams, Matt. And then you look at Lamar Brown, all those guys, Richard Anderson, these are guys that can help in the D-line early. So that coupled with retention, who you certainly believe, hey, we want them on the team and they're not going pro, so they're coming back, or we need to convince not to go pro, whatever it might be. That's what you're doing right now if you're Lane Kiffin, because when January 2nd opens, as you've talked plenty about, the portal is ongoing now. It might be a 14-day window when you can make visits and all of that, but right now everybody's kind of getting a feel for what their roster could look like and what holes really need to be addressed. And I think the most fanfare comes with quarterback.
Is there – so, Shea, they have one quarterback on the roster right now, and I don't even know if Michael Van Buren's going to be back. I mean, it's certainly up in the air. Is there any possibility of adding a high school quarterback in the February signing period?
There really aren't many left that I would know of. Now, look, Lane and that staff found Trinidad Chambliss on Twitter. So, what do I know? Maybe they found somebody out there. But
Right.
I would lean more towards, Matt, the potential or what could become a reality that they leave that early or the only portal window with two quarterbacks out of the portal. And obviously it's tough to say you're going to get two guys who think they're starting, but perhaps like Michael Van Buren a year ago, knowing, hey, I'll be behind a guy for a year, perhaps, and then it sets up for the following season. So a lot of ways this could go, but I would lean more towards two portal quarterbacks than a portal and a high school guy at this stage.
All right, man. You'd still be so thin on numbers, but it'll be fascinating to see how they make all this work. Shea, do you sense that there will be any other prospects that might be targets in the February signing period?
Most guys, I mean, you saw it with LSU, right? Like the 5 stars were debating holding out and they ended up signing. Now, with all of the transition from, coaches being fired, new hirings happening, really all that Sunday, 72 hours before the early signing period, you would have thought that more kids might have held off. But now so often they're early enrollees. They need to be in campus by January. They've got NIL and rev share and all of that involved. So they're a little bit more pressed to make a decision maybe than before. And just glancing up and down sort of the who's who of SEC offers, whether it was at Ole Miss or LSU, most of these guys are committed. So you're really now focused on retention and the portal, the 14-day window in January.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. All right, let's talk retention, then we'll talk portal. We already know that 7 guys have announced their intention, anyway, to enter the transfer portal. Quite honestly, Shea, I thought the number would be bigger by now, and I'm sure it could certainly still grow. But as you look at retention, where do you think the key pieces are for Lane Kiffin, Billy Glasscock right now?
I think they've got to be the most talented people on your roster, even above, that guy who might be in. It's not a quarterback right now, but on the verge of saying, "Hey, I could go pro or not." An AJ Halsey type. If he's got to wait towards another year, does a guy who might be drafted in the first 3 rounds, decide to come back? Those are always important. But keeping DJ Pickett, keeping Harlan Berry, keeping any of these young linemen that you like a lot on both sides of the ball, obviously. Looking around at receiver, you're going to be thin there. You're going to be heavy in the portal, but finding a way to keep the receivers that you do, if you're Lane Kiffin, like in your offense, what guys like Kyle Parker, right? Guys like all the way down to Teron Francis, who people have kind of held in high regard coming out of Ed Nakar and as a freshman takes a backseat to all the other veterans. But now that room's clearing out, does he stick around and become more of a weapon? But I do think that really you have to start with the guys who would be on campus the longest and have the biggest impact, in my mind, goes straight to DJ Pickett on defense and a guy like Harlan Berry on offense.
Let's dig in a little deeper there on Harlan Berry, Shea, because to say that Frank Wilson's future on staff is up in the air is probably an understatement. That if I had to guess at this point, I would say Frank's not going to be back at LSU. To the best that you know, how much might that impact Harlan Berry's future at LSU?
Yeah, I mean, I got to know Harlan and his father well through the recruiting process, probably as good as anyone in that class, as well as anyone. And I haven't reached out or asked anything on, the speculation of it or anything of that nature. I wonder to myself as I pondered it, Barry is a New Orleans kid. LSU, I mean, I don't even know if he made other visits, Matt, is that if Frank Wilson is not part of this staff, and let's say he does go elsewhere and he's got you're at another big time school and there's a spot for a player, let's just say Ole Miss, right? Okay. Ole Miss. Does Harlan Berry follow him? I wonder more if a Caden Durham doesn't follow him. Someone who isn't from Louisiana, was Frank's primary recruit. And yeah, look, you'll be monitoring both of them because
Okay, we'll try to reconnect there. I don't know what Shea just went into the abyss there, right? As he was getting into talking about Caden Durham. I'll have him pick up with the Caden Durham thought when we get him back here in just a sec. We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Hey, remember, if you're like me and you got Christmas and holiday parties coming up left and right, Rouse's has a great resource at the website. If you go to Rouse's.com, there's a bunch of holiday cooking ideas, your holiday menu ideas at the website, Rouse's.com. So make sure you go check it out there, Rouse's.com, and for the complete holiday meals over at the website. You can always check out the Facebook page as well. They do a great job of doing videos explaining and displaying how to do how to cook a variety of different things over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Listen, if it's your hot bar menu, if it's you're getting all of your sweets, your sweet treats for that holiday party, your grab and go options, all of your wine, beer, bourbon, they got it all for you over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. Okay, no go on Shea. We're just going to call him on a cell. Yep, okay. We'll try to get Shea back here in just a sec. Wanted to get a few more here in with Shea while we have time. I was asking Shea about Harlan Berry. Shea, you pivoted, you started talking about Caden Durham, and that's where you went into the cell phone abyss. So let's pick up, if we could, with Caden Durham.
Yeah, I mean, I wondered if just as much of a guy like Durham might be more of someone who would follow, given Berry kind of took over some playing time. Durham's not from here. He was Frank Wilson's lone recruit, just like Berry. Or I guess that wasn't true. J.T. Lindsey was in that class, but Durham was the only guy he signed 2 years ago and has played a good bit. So, yeah, Frank's not on the staff. You're monitoring what is a very thin room, which we've described as a few of these, which is why I think everybody is so eager to see what Lane, the self-proclaimed portal king, I guess, paraphrasing it over time, can do. Because, boy, they need a lot of help at a number of positions. And it doesn't feel as dire as it did a year ago, maybe, but I still think you need that type of numbers where you could hit 20 here, Matt.
Yeah. you're going to need to because you're losing a ton as well, just guys that are out of eligibility and key players. I mean, 6 of your top 7 snaps defensively are gone. So aside from quarterback, Shea, let's flip it and look at what those primary targets are going to be. Aside from quarterback, where do you think the work really needs to be and the focus needs to be in the portal come Jan 2?
I think running back is one. We just talked about it. If you lose one of those guys, right, even one of them, you're down to, one scholarship running back if Juwan Johnson doesn't return? So, you're flirting with disaster. So you've got to get multiple guys at running back. Wide receiver, you just noted it. That room's clearing out. Your, older guys from Aaron Anderson to Xavion Thomas and Barry Brown. All of them are going to be moving on, and we'll see the next wave of guys who some have played like Kyle Parker, others haven't, but that will be heavy in the portal for the staff with Kiffin. And then I look at, Trey Des Green, yes, you need to hit on the tight end probably that gives you more than Bauer Sharp did this year. And then we get to the O-line, and I don't know what direction you go. Does Braylon Moore come back? If not, how much are you shuffling up an O-line where some guys are out of eligibility? I guess Josh Thompson, who might have been one of your certainly better top 2 O-linemen that you had out there, and then the young guys who we got to see a handful of them, who they ride with, and then who they go into the portal and try to get at a new position. And I say all that before, really, for me, I get to any spot on defense beyond probably who is the replacement for, if Halsey's gone, Halsey, your top safety, who steps into that spot. And it could very well be Cooley and Spears.
It's going to be a fascinating test case into how Lane Kiffin plans to build a roster, and we're less than a month away here from finding out what steps they're going to take. He's Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Get him on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, man. Be well. It is After Further Review. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Pretty fired up about this, too. So my buddy Rooney has built a wooden lane train. It'll be sponsored by Sunshine. They'll be on display until they burn it on Christmas Eve. Part of the big ceremony in the levee every Christmas Eve. So if you want to get by and take photos of it, you can. We'll get more details coming up in just a bit. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All right, well, now I got a quick break. Y'all go around the SEC. One national college football reporter is not yet putting to bed the possibility of Kalen DeBoer to Michigan. We'll let you hear why when we come back, and we'll go around the SEC on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. I always love sharing these great 5-star Google reviews with you because so many of your friends and neighbors trust River City's 1 Hour Air just like I did. Neil sent this 5-star review. Said, I called River City's 1 Hour on a Friday night at 9 p.m. Service call was scheduled. Saturday, first thing. Cody, the technician, was outstanding. Fair pricing. Work was done well. Very satisfied. Tell you all the time. At River City's 1 Hour Air, they always work nights and weekends because if your AC or your heater goes out at night or on the weekends, you need to have it repaired. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. They're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. 752-0001, 752-0001.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun, over by the gate, Lordy.
I will put an end to the speculation when the coaching search ends, Greeny. Look, do you remember Lincoln Riley standing up at the podium and saying, I will not be the head coach at LSU? And then 24 hours later, he was the head coach at USC. I realize it's a different situation, but if Alabama loses to Oklahoma and has an early exit, if I'm Ward Manuel, the athletic director at Michigan, I am going for Kalen DeBoer because he would be the best option. The most realistic option might be Washington head coach Jed Fish, but we've all been in this long enough. It ain't over till it's over, guys.
It was Heather Dinich on Get Up here on Tuesday, and it's notable because Dinich's comments came not even 24 hours after Kalen DeBoer at his press conference in advance of Alabama's game Friday evening in Norman against Oklahoma was asked a pretty point-blank question about the Michigan reports and if he planned to be the Alabama coach next year.
All right. I put a statement out yesterday because first of all, our guys handle distractions phenomenally. It's been that way all season long. They continue to do that. And so, but I also, knew that yesterday and today was pretty important. I wasn't going to see until today to address it. So that's why I put that out there. A lot of the same things I said before, a couple weeks ago when asked really the same question. Just, feel completely supported. My family loves living here. Just all the things that we continue to build on. Love the progress. Haven't talked with anyone. No plans of talking with anyone. So I think that's a lot of what I said a couple weeks ago, and it continues to be the same thing. Feel strong about it. And our guys, if there's been any distraction, I haven't seen it, haven't felt it. And so I'm really proud of the way they've handled whatever noise is out there. And again, we've probably all season long have dealt with enough noise to where it doesn't surprise me on how they handle this.
It's interesting because hearing Kalen DeBoer and reading the statement gave me two very different feelings. Reading the statement felt definitive, like that was a denial. Hearing him say, haven't talked to anyone, no plans to talk to anyone, that does leave it more open-ended. Because your agent can certainly talk to people, and not having plans to talk to anyone doesn't mean that you won't. Wasn't quite as definitive. So hat tip to whoever it was in the Alabama press corps here who came back a few questions after that, because Kalen DeBoer didn't answer that first question was, do you plan to be the Alabama coach next year? And he didn't answer that specifically. So somebody circled back and pinned him against the wall on it.
Just for clarification and going back to Nick's question, will you be the coach at Alabama next season?
I plan on it. Yes. Nick, yes. Charlie, yes.
Charlie. I'm not sure who Charlie is, but do you know? Oh, yeah. Sorry, you were sitting.
No, I have no idea.
So, Kalen DeBoer kind of laughing, chuckling through it, saying, yeah, Nick, yes, Charlie, yes, plan on being the coach. Okay. I think two things can be true at the same time. I think a few days before a college football playoff game, he is focusing on his team, and I think he can like Alabama and his family can like living there, and there could be a better opportunity also. And I could also think that if Alabama goes and loses on Friday, there might be a lot of people internally there who are maybe not so bullish on Kalen DeBoer sticking around. Look, Feinbaum was on Get Up as well and effectively echoed those sentiments.
It feels like it's over, and people at Alabama Greeny are pushing back, saying they are in the midst of working on a contract. Something tells me they may wait till after Friday night to put it in front of DeBoer. But they were arguing very vehemently yesterday that it is not going to happen. Now, DeBoer actually made a mess out of it. He issued a statement on Sunday that cleared it up, and we only played a part of what he said. I mean, he went on. It was one of the longest word salads in college coaching history, and it's just so simple to say, are you going to be the coach next year? Yes, but for some reason he couldn't do it. I think some of it is that he likes it there, his family's comfortable there, but he also knows that out in the hinterlands, the fans are not crazy about him, especially with another loss on Friday night.
Feinbaum kind of said the same. It's reading it felt definitive. Hearing him sort of undid that feeling. Let them go lose Friday and see how shaky that may get. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. Y'all, we are nearing the end of the year. Today's the 16th. We have 15 days left in the year. 15 days left in 2025. That's wild, isn't it? 15 days left in the year. So, over at South Point Volkswagen, they're already getting the 2026s in. So, the 2025s got to go. So, great time to get on by and make a deal at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Volkswagen deal days are going on right now. You can make a deal on a new 2026, but if you want to score an amazing deal on the remaining 2025s, this is the time to go do it over at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland. Remember, Sign Then Drive is going on as well. 0 down, 0 due at signing, no first month's payment, no security deposit. Sign your name with little else. You're driving away in a brand new vehicle from South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Texas Longhorns.
Maybe Archie knew all along. Texas quarterback Arch Manning will return to Texas in 2026. Arch's dad, Cooper, sent a message to ESPN's Dave Wilson, said, quote, Arch is playing football at Texas next year, end quote. So Manning played really well in the second half of the season. The Longhorns went 9-3, just missing out on the college football playoff. But Arch heading back to the 40 acres.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
R. Mason Thomas and Jake Makula are expected to practice for Oklahoma again ahead of the playoff game against Alabama. So their status for the game still up in the air, but both are at least there's an opportunity potentially for them to get out there. Thomas was first team All-SEC, missed most of the final month with a quad injury suffered November 1st against Tennessee. As for Makula, who's a former Stanford transfer, he missed the regular season finale with an infection, so he missed the LSU game, but could very well be back here for the playoffs.
Texas A&M!
Running back Le'Veon Moss did participate in practice on Tuesday ahead of the Aggies college football playoff game against Miami. Moss suffered an ankle injury against Florida back at the beginning of October. He missed the final 6 games of the regular season. Wide receiver Ashton Bethel-Roman, linebacker Scooby Williams, and safety Bryce Anderson all also were out there in a limited capacity practicing on Tuesday.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama's landed a commitment from portal tight end Josh Ford from Oklahoma State. Now, it's important to note that when Mike Gundy was fired, they had a one-time 2-week window, or the month whenever Gundy was fired at the end of September. So that's when Ford entered the portal. So he's already able now to sign with a place because he had already entered the portal when that window opened back in September. So 2 seasons with the Cowboys. Ford played in 16 games, had just 13 receptions, but he's headed to Alabama.
The Auburn Tigers.
Former Michigan signee Bear McOrder has committed to Auburn after Sharon Moore's firing. He was granted his release, so now he'll head to Auburn. So he's a late addition to the 2026 class. 6'3", 293-pounder. He's a 3-star, the number 58 interior offensive lineman in the country. He's out of the state of Georgia, now heading to Auburn.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And a quick basketball note. Georgia's announced a home-and-home with North Carolina. It'll be 2026 and 2028. Bulldogs will play at North Carolina in the early part of 2026, and then the Tar Heels will play in Athens on a to-be-determined date in November of 2028. There you have it. That is Around the SEC. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Bunkie and below, you want a Deere, one place you're going. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All right, let's knock out a quick break. Come back, wrap up hour number 1, and we are headed to Norman in about 15 minutes. Yesterday, we previewed Bama, Oklahoma from the Bama side. About 15 minutes, we'll preview it from the OU side. We'll also give you thumbnail previews on Texas A&M Miami tomorrow, and then Ole Miss Tulane on Thursday as we count down to the college football playoffs. Stay here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Always encourage you to go to the website. Listen, holidays are here. No doubt there's a lot of people that are focused on family and parties and celebrating and downtime and time away from work, and that's fantastic. But just because it's the holidays doesn't mean that we are void of accidents or things that can happen. So maybe if while you're traveling during the holidays, you find yourself in an unfortunate situation, you get into a car wreck or something like that. If you're involved in an accident that's not your fault, you need representation to make sure you maximize getting what you are rightly entitled to get your life back to normal before the accident that disrupted your life. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, Gordon and his team all over the state of Louisiana will do an awesome job, and they have offices local all over the state of Louisiana, so you don't have to travel. All you got to do is start at the website, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Congratulations to Mansour Delane. Ho-hum, another day, another honor. This time, Mansour Delane named an AFCA, that's the American Football Coaches Association, first-team All-American. So Delane now has been named a first-team All-American by the Associated Press, the Walter Camp Foundation, and the American Football Coaches Association. There are two more organizations that are sort of the accepted All-America teams that make up the All-America honors, so they go towards being consensus or unanimous All-Americans. So Mansour Delane has a chance to do something really special if Sporting News and the Football Writers Association of America name him a first-team All-American. He would be a unanimous All-American. And in the history of LSU football, there have been single-digit unanimous All-Americans in the history of the program. Gaynell Tinsley in 1936. Billy Cannon did it twice in 58 and 59. Roy Winston in 1961. Jerry Stovall in 1962. It didn't happen again after Jerry Stovall for 25 years when Nacho Albergamo was a unanimous All-American in 1987. And then it was another 20 years before Glenn Dorsey. Then Patrick Peterson and Mo Claiborne did it back-to-back years in 2010 and 2011. Then Grant Delpit in 2018, Burrow and Chase in 2019, then Malik Neighbors in 2023. So for context, Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy and wasn't even a unanimous All-American. As stupid as that sounds. But it is a very rare, very hard thing to do. It's 13. So there have been 13, and Billy Cannon did it twice. So there have been 13 unanimous All-Americans in the history of LSU football. Y'all have been playing football since 1893. 1893. And you've had 13 unanimous All-Americans, and Mansour Delane is closing in on that honor, and I quite honestly don't know how he doesn't, at this point, earn unanimous All-America honors. If, in fact, he earns that designation, we'll point it out, and it's just worth mentioning because his 1 year in Baton Rouge is proving to be very impactful. Even though LSU went 7-5 this season, it's disappointing. We're going to have to learn collectively, right, to appreciate this extreme level of greatness when we get it, even in a relatively short amount of time, right? Like we saw Jaden Daniels for 2 years, Joe Burrow for 2 years. It's going to be a lot of that, where sometimes you just see these incredible players, and it might just be for a season or two instead of their entire 3, 4, 5 year career. But enjoy it. Enjoy the time that you have when it's there, because you likely witnessed a rare piece of LSU football history this year. We'll know here in the coming days if, in fact, Mansour Delane will be a unanimous All-American. All right, it's After Further Review. Nick Saban made an investment. I'll talk about that in a second. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. ParishRestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Remember, whenever it's wet outside, Louisiana is the mold capital of the world because it's wet and it's humid. It's a breeding ground for mold. So if you've had water intrusion in your house, it rains and you get water, you see it running down your walls, you see the water spots on the ceiling, it's a great time to call Parish Construction and Roofing. Let us come fix your roof. But when you've had water intrusion, chances are that didn't just happen when you start to see the water spot on the wall or the ceiling. So you probably have had water in your attic, in your walls, your insulation. It could be a breeding ground for mold. Parish Restoration can knock it out. They'll come spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. They'll close up the doors, the windows, everything. They'll let it dwell, kill everything down to the spores. And then when the fog lifts and dissipates, you're in clean, clear, clean smelling, fresh, sanitized building. It's Parish Restoration, ParishRestoration.com, ParishRestoration.com. How about Nick Saban? He's not getting back into coaching, but he has bought a minority ownership in the NHL's Nashville Predators. Not bad. I mean, he owns a bunch of car dealerships. Nick, I don't know if y'all know, was part of the development group that developed Perkins Row in Baton Rouge. So, I mean, that dude is just rolling in cash. He's a great coach, but also a very savvy businessman and investor. And this kind of helps him stay competitive. So Bill Haslam is the owner of the partner with the Predators. So Nick Saban's jumped in as a minority partner of the Nashville Predators in the NHL. So get him on the bench, get him on skates. Let's see it. AFR.
After further review.
Got hour number 2, staring straight in the face right after SportsCenter. Eddie Radosevich will be here from Sooner Scoop. We'll talk a little bit about Oklahoma and Alabama Friday there in Norman. We are brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Hey, look, if you're thinking of maybe the perfect gift to get someone in your life, you can get them LASIK. Give them the gift of sight. I mean, is there anything better, quite literally? And if you're not sure how to do that, like this happens all the time, by the way. I was talking to Amber over there as our marketing director, and she's told me this like every year that we talk about Williamson. Make sure people know you can give LASIK or PRK or the custom lens replacement, Evo ICL. You can give this as a gift. Families will go in and give it to a family member, and they can put together like a gift certificate for you so you have something physical that you can give in their stocking or on Christmas morning. Whatever you do, start that process today. WilliamsonEye.com.